You know, the truth, that Jesus is Lord, right? And there's nothing more precious to our society right now than that truth. There's nothing more important, nothing that needs to be proclaimed louder than Jesus is Lord, not you. And I wish I had more time to talk about that and flesh it out and tell you about the freedom that that offers, but we've got to carry on. But guys, you are the carriers of that truth, and that makes you precious, precious, precious salt within society. So do not be afraid to be who you are. As Christians, as followers of Jesus, be loud and proud of who you are. Talk about Jesus. Say his name often in front of other people. Pray out loud in front of people in public places. Do not be afraid. Do not let them win. Okay? Let your friends catch you reading the Bible. Okay? Let them catch you reading the Bible. They need to know loud and proud that you say that Jesus is the Lord of your life. Because that is a precious message within this moment. People need to see it embodied in your lives, okay? So be loud and proud. Right, take a lesson from Kanye. Jesus is king. What else does it say? I work for God now, right? Put it on the internet, put it on YouTube, put it on Instagram. Don't put it on Facebook because no one uses that anymore. Just get the message out there, guys. It's precious and valuable. And it's precious and valuable partly because it was not just something that was salaried, but also because it was a preservative. And so before the days of refrigeration, salt was the way in which they would have cured and preserved meat to stop it from going rotten. And it would only take a really small amount of salt to preserve quite a big piece of meat, okay? And so why is it that we do evangelism and mission? Is it primarily to see people saved? Yes, it is. Is it primarily to see God get all the glory? Yes, perhaps most primarily it's so that we see God get all the glory. But it's also because we believe that the gospel has a powerful and a transformational and a sort of preservational effect upon people's lives and our community. It stops the rot. Right, we see in the scriptures, don't we? Every time that Jesus meets people, they walk away changed and transformed by him. And we see the same thing today, don't we? We see that as people encounter the gospel, it becomes like preservative within their life that stops the rot. And so, do you know what? I believe that it is possible for the church within this country to rise up and turn back the tide on mental health and to make the world into a better place, into a more lightful place, when we just get really bold and confident about proclaiming the simple gospel. That's all it takes. Because you know, I have seen it so many times. When people meet Jesus, he transforms their lives because Jesus gives them a hope. Jesus gives them a future. Jesus gives them something to live for, and he sets them free from their addictions. He sets them free from their destructive habits. He heals them of their hurts. He forgives them of their past, and he covers their shame, and he covers their inadequacies. Just see, the gospel is the preservative within our society, and you guys are all carriers, precious carriers of that preservative. Jesus said also that we are to be like light. Verse 14, he says that we are to be like light, and salt. Light was really important back in the day, just as salt was, because you can imagine how dark it would have been in the Middle East. No electricity, no street lamps on a cloudy night. Can you imagine how pitch black it would have been? It would have been dark, okay, like countryside, Lake District, dark, okay, like properly dark on a cloudy night with no moon. And so even the smallest amount of light would have brought an immense amount of comfort, but also the vision to see. And that's what I think Jesus is saying to us tonight, that you guys within your universities are to be the people that allow others to see, to find safety, to show them the way to go, and to comfort them, okay? When stuff gets hard, you are the friends that people turn to. When people need help, you are the people that step in and provide help. And you will find that as you are there for people in their darkest hour of need, and you're there to comfort them and show them the way and provide safety, people will then actually start to naturally follow you, because they will be like, what is this thing in your life? What is this thing that you've got? Where did you get it from? You're just so easygoing and you're not affected by things in the same way. You don't even care when people spit in your coffee and push in front of you at Tesco's. There's like something else within your life. What is it? And you're like, well, follow me and I will show you. And they start following you because it's like they see the light and they're attracted to it like a moth to the flame, except sort of less destructive. And they follow it to see where it goes. And so you're like, come on, come this way. And you go to a CU event and they follow you. You go to church and they follow you. And as they follow you, they eventually come to the source of light itself and they get consumed by Jesus in their lives. But do you see that in order for that to start to happen, you are going to have to get really courageous and bold about being loud and proud Christians, because you have to let the light shine in order for them to see the way to safety and follow you. And guys, look, things are so hard right now out there. Things are so difficult. We have to do this. We have to do it. We have to become salt and light, because there is so much need, there is so much brokenness out there. We have to show people which way to go. We have to preserve and we have to stop the rot in its tracks. We have to add flavour and make life taste better for our friends. We have to know that what we have in the gospel is insanely precious, because there's nothing else like it at the moment out there. So you've got to walk out of this place back onto campus this next week, and you have to be loud and proud in a way that you have perhaps never been before. It's what we have to do in this moment. I'm challenged myself, because I find it difficult. I even find it difficult posting things on social media about why I'm a Christian, because I know that I have like 1,500 friends that most of them are not Christians, and they hate that kind of stuff, and when they see it they'll judge me, and yet I keep posting that stuff because I've got to be loud and proud, right? Sure, people are going to hate me for it. I know that they're going to hate me for it and put me down, but I'm posting it out there anyway, because do you know what? I believe that it is the preservative that people need in their lives. And I know I've said this already a couple times this weekend, but I will say it again, because I believe that this is like perhaps the most important take-home thing, and that is that some of you will look at your lives right now and you'll be thinking, okay, in this particular moment I kind of feel like I could go back and do that, but I sort of know that on Monday morning I'm going to wimp out and I won't be able to do it, because I still have this mentality that is for the super hardcore Christians and that isn't for me, and I am the person that stacks the chairs at the end. I'm not the person that actually goes out and does the stuff. Do you want to know a secret of mine? Like, I am just not that confident as a person. I'm one of these people who is extremely good at looking like they're a confident person. From the inside, I'm petrified. But I don't know. Something for me changed a couple of years ago, yeah, honestly, I had this real revelation, and something for me really, really changed. And it happened for me as I was reading through John's Gospel. And I came to this particular verse in chapter 16, verse 7, and when I read it, I stopped in my tracks and I was like, whoa. And honestly, it was a watershed moment. And I'll read this verse to you. You probably think, what was he on about? It's just an old verse. This is what it says. It says, but very truly I tell you, this is Jesus speaking, he says, but very truly I tell you, it is for your good that I am going away. Unless I go away, the advocate, that's the helper, the Holy Spirit, will not come to you, but if I go, I will send him to you. And I read that and I was like, that is mental. What is he talking about? Let me explain. If you imagine with your CU, right, if you could add one person to your CU, like one university fresher comes up and joins the CU, and you could choose anybody out of the whole of history, who would you choose? Jesus, right? Obviously, like who else would you choose? And can you imagine what it would be like to have Jesus in your CU? You're having the physical Jesus right there in the CU. Can you imagine? He'd be really good at flyering, right? At flying. Can you imagine? Can you get into go into all the bars and turn the water into wine, and people would be like, whoa! And you'd get him healing the sick and the blind, and you'd send him into the hospitals. You imagine catering for CU events, right? All you have to do is rock up with a couple of fish and some bread. There's tuna and mayo sandwiches, as far as the eye can see. Like, it would be incredible. And also, you imagine Jesus at the Woman in the Well. He's so pastoral, he's so direct and firm, and he knows just the kind of questions to ask. You imagine him having those kind of conversations with your friends and your family. Like, man, I wish I could see that kind of stuff happen. But in this passage, Jesus says to his disciples, it is better that I leave so that the Holy Spirit comes. He's saying that what we have right now, this second, in this room, in your lives, is actually better, more effective, more powerful than actually having the physical Jesus stood right next to you. Do you actually believe that? Just let that sink in for a minute. As you head back onto your campus on Monday morning and walk back into your lives, you're walking back with a greater power in your life and a greater effectiveness than if the physical Jesus was stood actually right next to you. And some of you are like, well, you know, what me? Like, I'm a pretty weak kind of Christian. You're like, well, yes, you. And some of you are like, well, what me? You know, I'm the guy who's sat here feeling incredibly guilty because I know that I've got a porn addiction and I cannot stop. Well, yes, you too. Some of you are like, what, me? I've not even told my course mates that I'm a Christian yet because I'm too scared. Well, yes, you too. Some of you are like, what, me? I've not even read the Bible in a whole month because I find it really boring. Well, yes, you too. The Holy Spirit is in you and he's powerfully at work, and it is more effective than his Christ was stood right next to you. You know, he sets his treasure in jars of clay. Your weakness is your strength, because it is in your weakness that God perfects his power, right? You are way more powerful than you ever realise. You know, when you're sat in lectures next to somebody and they're just a normal person, they're actually spiritually dead, you are spiritually alive. They might laugh at you for being a Christian and put you down and make snide comments, but you have a power that's living inside of you, the very same power that threw stars into space and created the universe. Oh, come on, that's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty good. Like, seriously, doesn't that blow your mind? He knows you're weak, and yet he places his Holy Spirit within you. And so when you pray to your Father, it's more effective than if Jesus was stood right next to you. When you share the gospel with your friends, it's more effective than if Jesus was stood right next to you. Look, guys, when you go back, don't be held back anymore by your own weaknesses, right? Have a high degree of faith and a high degree of expectation to think that, you know, this, and even this spring, this mission that we're doing home, as we get to that week in the spring, have a high degree of faith and expectation that we are going to see people brought out of the darkness, out of the despair, out of the rot, out of the lies of Satan that exist in this world, into the light. And I'm confident that we are going to see, we are going to see it happen. We are going to see lives changed and transformed in that week. And do you know why I know it's going to happen? Because the power of the Holy Spirit is within us. And as you guys go out onto the campus, he will be at work. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know, and so that means that as you go through life, and as I say, I had this revelation and it completely changed everything, because it means that now when I turn up with a confidence and a belief, and I pray in a different way, because I believe that there is a power within me that is effective for change, and it gives me the confidence that I never have. You know, it's amazing. I was quite blown away actually when I came here, chatted to Natasha down here, and she said, "Oh, Jaime, I seem to remember you from like this CU event that you spoke at a couple of years ago, and it was like in a Costa Coffee. Do you remember?" And I was like, "Oh, no." It's like, "Oh no, that was a terrible talk." I wrote that on an envelope on the train on the way there. So it's like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure actually. That might have been someone else." And, but then anyway, she said that she'd written down her testimony, and something that she'd written down in her testimony was one of the things that I'd said that night. It was a quote from C.S. Lewis, of course it was. It wasn't really me, it was Lewis. But she'd written it down, and it had been incredibly a pivotal moment within her life, and I was like, wow, that was a moment of real weakness. I didn't even want to admit that I gave that talk. And yet God is powerfully at work. He's powerfully at work in ways in which you can barely even imagine.